Yeah. So for those people that were curious, the answer to the Zach's trivia question, Erica was guest number 2 on the Fervent 4 show. So Zach and I, we did an initial pilot, if you will, to see if there was interest in something like this. And then everything shut down. Erica came on to the show to talk about, hey, people, remote work is coming. You better get with the program or else you're going to be left behind. I am interested to hear how your organization and your business has changed over the course of the last 18 months. You had mentioned that you have over 500 remote people working with you now. That number wasn't even close to that 18 months ago. So what has changed for you over the course of the last 18 months?
What was that number before?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. What has happened?
We wouldn't know if we were good hosts and we listened to our episode. Probably.
You need your background researcher before
Come on, Gavin, do it for us. Listen.
So the December right before COVID happened, I think we were at 77 team members, and so now it'll be 2 years. The end of this year, hopefully we're above 525 where we are now. So I mean, a couple of things have happened. I'd say it's kind of like 3 different ways. One, as a startup in a business, right? We've found our groove. We did, customer discovery, pivoting, trying to find where that all actually lives in a scalable model. Like that has definitely taken off, which has allowed us to build bigger teams, bring in bigger customers, build bigger business. The remote work attention has definitely helped everywhere from being able to talk about it from like a cultural and a communication standpoint, which is like one of my favorite things to talk about in remote work, to companies kind of, realizing, okay, if this is here to stay, or even if this is short term, we're going to need help. We need to find more talent than we can find, based in a location. So that has helped as well. And then just the growth continues to bring more growth, right? And the different fundraising rounds that we've gone through, we did an angel round. We closed a Series seed round the January before the pandemic happened. And we haven't not also struggled. We had several large customers in the travel and hospitality industry. So what happened to us that March, April, I mean, those companies, which is devastating, right? Like they were out in like 3 days, 100%. But just the build, right? So
to clarify that, so they basically dropped their contract with you within 3 days after COVID, is what you're saying?
Oh yeah, I mean, because they were done. They were under. I mean, they lost all of their business. Wow. I mean, it was devastating to see that happening. And then by chain going down, we also lost our business. With probably about 3 different customers because of it. So, all kinds of pluses and minuses. Whether the pandemic ever happened, right? Just the normal growth structure of a company and being sure that you're taking those pivots and staying ahead. So, a lot of growth. A lot of lessons, a lot of failures, but ultimately, I'm very proud. Yesterday was our 5-year of like, hey, we're on social media and we're a real company. We was the first post 5 years ago. And so to see where we've come, I mean, step by step has definitely been full of exhaustion and gratitude.
Well, congratulations. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
If we had like a really fancy broadcast studio, this is where we would have someone knock on your door, not with a Publishers Clearinghouse check, but with cupcakes and streamers, balloons, and our screen. We probably talked about this at least 17 times on the show. We do not have this capability yet, but balloons going wild, confetti, fireworks, all of that craziness.
Well, you've got a year now to work on that, and next year, for our 6th year anniversary, I will be your beta tester for that.
Noted. Most podcasts don't get to year 3, so I don't know, Tim. I think we're gonna have to pull the plug at that point. If we have some,
it's like breaking up with your girlfriend right before Valentine's Day.
Yeah, this is way too difficult of a demand for us to fulfill, and I was okay with the cupcakes, but. This is too much. Okay, so 3 days in, you have no idea what's going on. If we really look back, I think end of March, April, maybe even to a little bit of May, people are really still confused as to what's going on. You're only 4 years into business, 3.5 years into business at that point. You've read a lot of books. You've listened to enough Gary Vaynerchuk videos that like you're all jazzed up about everything. But actually being in that situation, how do you handle something like that? What do you do? Are you still at 75 employees at that time? Like, and then you lose, like, what do you do in that situation? Because I feel like most books, most people that'll tell you something, checklist can only get you so far, right?
So we had closed our Series Seed round January 2020, and then March and April hit. And part of our strategic planning was like travel tech, right? Like those were fast growing companies. They were large. They needed a lot of support teams. So, I mean, that was a part of our strategic plan. So not only like current monthly, recurring revenue, but also our long-term plan at that point was to start to put some marketing dollars and sales efforts towards travel tech. And so, March, April hit, not only did we now lose business, but we also lost our entire strategy with a fresh round of investors and expectations to continue to fulfill revenue. Upside to that is it affected everybody, right? And so there was a kind of a common understanding of like, hey, if you're a startup at a very critical growth stage, like the next couple of months are going to kind of be kind of hairy. And they definitely were. I mean, we did the PPP route, like we kind of followed the things that we need to do to stay ahead. But the other thing that shifted the most, even having already been remote, was the people. Because even though we've always been remote, most people, and we're very predominantly female, out of the 525, we sit still at like a 72% female employee base, 68% are military spouses. So the dynamic shift of the household and your family requirements is what we had to attend to. So we kind of took March, April, May, kind of into May to really, all right, we got to take care of people. We brought in some like outside kind of like survey research stuff to see like, hey, how are people doing? How are they adjusting? What can we do? Put some like flex work models in where you could possibly share a shift if, you're figuring out what to do with kids in the house now and you're having to help them virtual school, which is probably a whole nother episode of how we've all gotten through that, is working from home with virtual school and entrepreneurs and running businesses. But those were the two biggest things. Was one, obviously keeping the sanctity of the business going, because that wasn't an option for us, but then also the people, right? The teams, everybody was under extreme stress with the unknown. And then also having extra people in the house while they're trying to do their remote work.
Are you stuck at your home office, socially distanced coffee shop, or your fancy all bricked out corner office, wondering why no one can see your business and sales are all over the place? Sounds like you need a pro. That's why I developed the Anomaly Academy. Insert clever copy here. Oh, I guess I was supposed to put something else there. Oops. You can grab access to the Anomaly Academy now at ZachMillerSays.com/Anomaly Academy.